What's going on over there? Boom. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. It is Christmas Eve. I'm putting this out. I want all of you to know from me and from Billy that we hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Anybody, real quick, couple of stories. Anybody that listens to my podcast knows that I'm a big Christmas guy. I love Christmas. This year, I didn't get to really do Christmas like I normally do. I moved to Tennessee, and part of moving to Tennessee is that I'm working here in my office. My office is also my studio, and I've just been going 12 to 14-hour days. I'm working on Portland time because that's where my business is. And so by the time I get done at 7 o'clock, it's 9 o'clock here, and I haven't been able to get out and do the things that I like to do, like go out in the crowd, things I never do during the year. I love to do at Christmas time. I don't care about parking. I love it. I don't care about the traffic. I love it. I don't care about the crowds. The bigger the crowds at the malls, the happier I am. The Christmas lights, the music, all the bags and people dressed up and the whole 9 yards, Santa Claus, you name it. I love it all. And I love it all more than I love any of the things that you get. And I have a couple of stories. I know Christmas has really become commercialized for so many people, and I think that's okay. There's nothing the matter with that. But what I really want everybody to hear is perspective, and that's what I have. That's what I really, for me, if you ask me what Christmas is about, it's about perspective. Let me tell you a couple of stories where that comes from. Some of these again, people who listen to the podcast will have heard these before. Let's start with, I was a kid, 9 kids in my family. I have 6 older brothers and sisters, 7 years in between us, and I have a little brother and a little sister. So almost 2 families. And at Christmas time, we were poor. And so one of the things that we got at Christmas time, we would get pajamas and we would get sugar cereal. There'd be other things, but we would get primarily with sugar cereal. And sugar cereal is nothing that we ever got during the year at all. Again, this is the middle 70s. My mother, a carob was a big deal. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Carob was a big deal. My mother abhorred sugar for good reason. As it turns out, she knew what was coming and how bad sugar was for you. And so she would buy us, though, at Christmas time, because it's Christmas, sugar cereal. And here's the fun thing about sugar cereal. My little brother's 22 months younger than I am, and we would get these sugar cereal packages. They'd be wrapped just like a normal gift, and you would then, the second they got put under the tree, you would dive under the tree, you would pull them out, and you would do your best to figure out what your sugar cereal is. Now, any aficionado of sugar cereal will understand what I'm about to say, because guessing what's in a box of sugar cereal, guessing what's wrapped, what kind of sugar cereal is wrapped, is really pretty easy for 2 of them, because you have some significant extremes with sugar cereal. On the one end, you got the little wiener sugar cereal, which is Fruity Pebbles. I don't know what's with Fruity Pebbles. Maybe because there's so much freaking sugar on that stuff that the Fruity Pebbles doesn't need to sell you a full-size box, but that box is itty-bitty, and you know it. So as soon as wrapped, you pick it up. You don't have to shake it, nothing, although you don't want to shake the sugar cereal, obviously, because the sugar, it all falls apart. So you don't want to do that, but you want to be careful with it, try to figure out what it is. You didn't have to with a Fruity Pebbles box. Grab that. You know exactly what you're getting tomorrow morning's Fruity Pebbles. On the other end of that spectrum is the honeycomb. So if you got a honeycomb box, there's no hiding what that is. I mean, that box is as big as the Fruity Pebbles box is small. So you had those 2 extremes. And in the middle, you got your Captain Crunch, you got your Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you got your different, what do we got? Sugar Pops, all of those different kind of sugar cereals that were in the middle, and the boxes were all pretty much the same. So then it came down to feel. And again, you don't want to shake, so it would come down to feel. How simple is that? Now, we would open those in the morning, have a good idea of what it was going to be. And because I have 6 older brothers and sisters, older brothers in particular, you're eating that cereal right now. And you're eating that whole freaking box of cereal, or you got to squirrel it away and hide it, because it's not going to last very long in the house. I remember that like it was, what's going on over there? Boom. I remember that like it was yesterday. And it is a fantastic memory that I have of Christmas, and something that we would do every single year. So I took, again, very humble. There's nothing special about that, but that's perspective for Christmas. I took forward with my kids And we have all the traditions now. They go sit on Santa's lap. Even now as adults, they're, 23, 22, and 19. But they indulge the old man. Every year we have pictures of them with Santa. And Christmas is go look at the lights, and we do all of those things. And we really enjoy it. And for me, that is Christmas. Much more than anything that you might get me. That's story number one. Story number two, real quick, is when I was 14 years old, when I was 13 or 14, my older sister died on her 21st birthday. Imagine that, if you can believe it. When I was 14, 15, my parents moved to Montana. Well, I stayed back in Portland and for, 6 or 8 months. And then before the school year started at the end of the summer, off I went to Montana. So we lived in Montana. My parents had a restaurant. The restaurant quickly died, and we found ourselves kicked out of the house that we were living in and had to move into a much smaller house, a little 800, 900 square foot house. There's 6 or 7 of us living in this tiny little place. It's snowing. It's negative 20 degrees. Your mouth would freeze shut when you would walk outside. Gardner, Montana was the name of the town. There was absolutely nothing to do. And so I played pool. That's when I first started to really play pool. And so playing pool, I would have to play pool at a bar because the town was only maybe 300 people. It was 1 block long, and that block had to have 6 bars. I'm not playing. So I had a regular bar as a 15-year-old that I went and hung out with. The bartender let me in because they knew I just played pool. That's all I did. And I would play the regulars, and I got good enough playing with the regulars that I was able to finance my pool playing by playing the regulars. Again, this is, you're putting a quarter or 50 cents in every single game. And if you won, the other guy paid. And then if you didn't have anybody there, you had to have some money in your pocket in order to play pool. So I was able to make a meager amount and play pool. And I would grab the same cue off of the walls, the cue that I really liked. Again, I'm a poor kid, no money, no nothing. I'm 15 years old. I'm pissed off at the world. And Christmas is coming. I have this history of Christmas as I just described. And so my mother, who has bought more, as you can imagine, my mother has 9 kids, has bought more Christmas presents than you would ever know. I can't imagine how many she's wrapped in her lifetime. Being who she is and what she is, that woman squirreled away because she knew how to squirrel money away, and she had squirreled money away to buy us gifts. And so we come upstairs on Christmas Day, and my little brother and I, and boom, sitting out there from Santa, if you will, is a tub of candy bars. And it came in, Christmas tub like this, like you get popcorn today, and it's got the little dividers, and there were Milky Way and Snickers and 3 Musketeers. And we had our own. My little sister had one too, and me and my brother had one each. And that, of all the gifts I've ever received throughout the years, if you ask me the first gift that comes to memory, it's going to be either sugar cereal or it's going to be that tin, and then what I'm going to tell you next. So that's number one. Number two, that same Christmas, there's a gift underneath the tree, and I can't imagine there's a gift. Again, we're so poor. My parents ended up finding, I think about that March, they found an old welfare check in somewhere in their drawers, and were able to, that welfare check ended up bringing us home. So you have some idea, we're living on food stamps, some idea how poor we were, particularly at this time. And so under the tree is a gift for me. I can't imagine there's a tree or there's a gift for me. And I opened that gift, and my mother had gone and bought me a pool cue. Now she didn't know pool from one end to the other. And she bought only for what she had the money for. So I would guess that this pool cue, it was a Willie Moscone brand pool cue. This is circa 1983 or 4. She bought it from Kmart. I'm guessing it's maybe $18, $20. It came, it was hanging on the wall, comes in the plastic packaging that takes an act of God and a blowtorch to get into. Yeah, that sort of thing. But it was a pool cue, and it was my pool cue. And I didn't know anything about pool cues. So I didn't know that it was crappy, or I didn't know that it wasn't straight or any of that. All I knew is I had my own pool cue, and it had its own little vinyl bag with a zip top on it. And man, I was good to go. And I had a baseball glove, or a batting glove that I'd cut the fingers out of because I sweated so much that I needed to have some sort of, not have the skin against my cue. And as it turns out, now they do them. I mean, all kinds of groups make them for professional players, and many, many, many players play with that on now. I was ahead of myself. But my mother bought me this, and I'd jam that glove down in the top, and I'd close it, and away I would go. And I had my own cue. So now jump ahead. We're moving here to Tennessee, and we dig through the house, and we're getting everything the way that you do. And I get up into the back of the truck that's being loaded, and there's helpers there loading, and they're loading it. And I see a pool cue box, and I instantly recognize it, and I can't believe it. So I've got it here. It's going to go sit right there as soon as I'm done doing this video. But anybody who knows me knows I'm not very nostalgic. But I'm happy to report that I've got here the pool cue that my mother bought. I have kept it all of these years. Unbeknownst to me, it had been hidden away, but I kept it all of these years. And so what you have here is a $20 pool cue. It comes in 4 pieces. You have the top piece and then 3-piece bottom. You can put some weights in here. It's pretty trick, but again, not straight, doesn't roll right, all of those things. It came in a vinyl bag at the time, which I proudly carried. But when I was a kid, coming off a Hustler, the movie The Hustler, everybody wanted this sort of carrying case. And so my buddy found one for me at Goodwill. The end was broken, was ruined. We just taped her shut. I don't care. Who cares? I got my pool cue, I got my pool case, and I'm looking like I'm supposed to. I don't know where she came up with the money. This is single-handedly probably the greatest, if not one of the greatest gifts I've ever gotten, and this is what Christmas means to me. Now, subsequently, let's talk about one other thing. These are my pool cues now. Now, I love my pool cues, right? These are custom, handmade, peach hour, carbon fiber. My wife's got a custom one, custom brake cues, the carrying case, tips, the tip protectors, the whole 9 yards. I mean, there's everything to be had here. It's thousands of dollars of cues. Relative to that $20 box of cues that has zero value today, these I could resell and make money right now. That cue there has zero value. And it's the most valuable cue that I have. I would sell that cue before I would sell these cues, the ones that I play with, before I would ever sell that. I'll never sell that cue, this one here. So that's my Christmas story. That's what Christmas means to me. Those 2 things in particular are what I think about when I go through Christmas, and that perspective that I bring to Christmas. It doesn't matter to me what comes under the tree. I could care less. What I really enjoy is all of the events and what Christmas means, the possibility. When you're that poor kid and you're looking at Christmas and that Toys R Us circular comes. Circular, for anybody who didn't know, back in the day, newspapers had circulars, and that was that the newspaper would come, and inside would be these big advertisements, and you could pull it out, and it was like its own newspaper. Well, Toys R Us, right at Thanksgiving, would put out this circular, and my brother and I, who's 22 months younger than me, would lay down on the floor, grab that circular, and we would circle all of the things that we wanted from Toys R Us, none of which we were ever going to get, but it didn't matter. It was the possibility. It was the chance that something was going to come. And when it didn't, I don't ever remember being disappointed, ever. That the hope and the opportunity and the chance to get something was more than enough, and that's never been lost on me as a poor kid at Christmas, as I've grown with my own family and done my own thing. So Merry Christmas. When I say that, that's what I'm thinking about, and that's what I do. Now, one more thing real quick, and I'll get out of here and get out of your way. I have all these traditions I do with my family, and one of the traditions that I do with my family, and that since my oldest son was big enough to sit in my lap, is we have a "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" book that I read to him. Same book. Now, we've had the same book for 25 years. Tonight, being Christmas Eve, I will read them that book. And so I thought, you know what, with COVID and this nightmare of a year, some of you may have heard these already, but my wife played me this deal that I thought was pretty funny. And I thought, you know what, as I do my Christmas little 10-minute spiel here, I think I will add this to it for your listening pleasure, because this cracked me up too. This is written by a guy named Matthew West. I believe he's a country singer, so I want to give him all of the credit. He wrote this. This was his, and it is a "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" COVID edition. So here, for your listening pleasure, here Christmas Eve is my version or my reading of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," like I do for my kids, just for all of you. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the place, every smile was hidden by a mask on a face. To see Christmas morning, they hardly could wait, all gathered together in groups, not more than 8. And making quite sure that every single germ was dead, there was no scent of Christmas, only Lysol instead. But my, oh my, does it ever matter? Because, of course, we all lost our sense of smell. Amazon brought all the boxes to town. We got out the Clorox and wiped them all down. Mom glued to her laptop, online shopping in a trance, while the kids were rehearsing their next TikTok dance. Then we all took a vote to see who was naughty, who was nice, but the results were disputed because some voted twice. With each sugar cookie, my weight, my Lord, did it mount. So I yelled to the scale, I demand a recount. Less money for spending, but oh, what the heck. Hey, maybe next time, this year, next time, they might actually send us a stimulus check. The children finally nestled snug in their beds as nightmares of virtual learning danced in their heads. Zoom calls. Isn't it great? It's just like the real thing. And mothers and fathers, exhausted aplenty, bowed their heads and gave thanks. We survived 2020. Then down through the chimney with all of the loot came jolly old Santa in a hazmat suit. With a ho, 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 he said, I'll see you later. The governor closed Santa's workshop, so you all get toilet paper. Yes, he quickly appeared, and then quickly he went. Santa Claus, the world's largest super spreader event. Now on Republican, on Democrat, on Independent too. The last part of the story is for me and for you. To a world that's in darkness, may we all be a light. A COVID Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. There you go. COVID Christmas 2020. Let's hope 2021 is better. Merry Christmas, everybody. We appreciate you listening. Both Billy and I have a great Christmas, and we'll talk before the end of the year.